Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, given that the witness has made mention of several documents which are not before the Commission and which I will need to put to him in the cross-examination, may I at this stage, I have proposed that the witness's testimony be suspended, and I provide a list to the Commission and to the witness as to what is required for him to bring, and we can continue on another date. There are other witnesses that I can proceed with.
Yeah. What do you say, Counsel?
No objection at all. We discussed it. The witness can come back on Thursday, the 19th July 2018. Hey.
Until 19. Very well. You've heard. You'll be required to be here on Thursday, the 19th. All right? Thank you.
Honorable Commissioners, I recall Dr. Njoguba at the instance of Mr. Muhammad Bazi and Mr. Fadi Mazegu.
You may take a seat, sir. Good afternoon, and be reminded of your oath.
May I proceed, Mr. Chairman?
Go ahead.
Good afternoon, Dr. Barr.
Good afternoon.
Can you just confirm for the Commission the period in which you were Secretary General?
I can't recall the exact days with me, but I testified here before that. but I don't have them off head now. But I know that it was about 5 times as SG between 2010 and 2013.
Thank you. Between 2010 and 2013?
As SG, yes.
And as Permanent Secretary, Office of the President? The period is fine. You don't have to give me the exact dates.
Around 2009, 2008, 2009.
In 2008, you were at the Office of the President, is that correct?
2008, yes.
In what position?
Maybe a DPS or a Deputy Permanent Secretary, possibly. Or APS, I don't remember.
Okay. Were you involved in the Carnegie termination?
Carnegie termination?
Carnegie Mining, the termination of the license in 2008.
Involved? No, I can't remember.
You can't
being
recall?
involved. No. At the time, I was a junior officer, I believe.
Okay.
If there was any involvement, it's probably a directive, conveying a directive. But I do not remember personally being involved.
Okay. Who was the Secretary General in 2008?
I can't recall, like, who was it?
Dr. Ba, the testimony before this commission is that the former president incurred substantial expenses or various expenses, and these were paid for by public funds. Now, can you tell this commission the sort of expenses the president incurred generally for which you receive instructions to pay from public funds?
I didn't say that, so I think probably
No.
we asked those who said that.
Sorry?
I didn't say that he incurred.
I didn't say you said that. I said the testimony before the commission, the general testimony from the various witnesses, has been that expenses were incurred by the president and public funds were used to pay for his expenses. My question to you is, from your time at the Office of the President, do you recall expenses, the types of expenses the president incurred for which payments were made from public funds?
No, I cannot talk about that. Once I didn't give statement or I didn't say anything about that relating to my testimony here. So I wouldn't know.
Okay. Did any purchase for vehicles or equipment in the Gambia or outside the Gambia come through you while you were the Office of the President?
Yes, on some occasions.
Some occasion.
Yeah.
Do you recall for which companies in the Gambia or outside of the Gambia?
No, like when we government needs vehicle, we will contact TK Motors or Espas Motors or the Cyber Madi company for vehicles for government or staff ministries or stuff. And I will recall on one or two occasions when purchases were made from outside you know, to the Gambia, pickup trucks, you know, and some buses from the from outside to the Gambia.
Okay. Dr. Bao, is it correct that most or all investors who came to the Gambia went through the office of the president?
Most what?
Most or all investors who came to the Gambia went through the office of the president?
It can be correct. You can correctly say that. Maybe after going through other agencies like GAIPA or also being brought in by people, and they end up at State House, the office of the president.
Okay. So there were various investors in and out of State House?
Yeah.
Would I be correct in saying that no decision or no project was entered into in the Gambia without going through the office of the president?
Without going through the office
of the president.
Yeah, I would agree. Because decisions were taken at the end of the day by the president.
So would I be correct in saying the former president micromanaged the country, the Gambia?
Well, he was in control of
He was in
everything,
control.
you know, and he said he was a super minister. You know, any decision that had to come, even ministers, you know, they would have to seek approval from the president before anything is done. And likewise, the SG's office. Anyway, anything, it was him. He had the final say.
Okay. Are you aware that even certain legal opinions or decisions from the Attorney General chambers had to come through to the office of the president?
Can you say that again?
Are you aware that even certain legal opinions or decisions relating to the Attorney General's chambers had to come to the office of the president for his approval?
In most cases, I would agree, yes.
Sorry?
In most cases, I would agree. As far
You
as
would
I-
agree. Dr. Bao, while you were at the office of the president, did the former president hide his assets? Were they hidden what he owned?
Did he hide his assets?
Yeah, was it hidden what belonged to the former president? Was it hidden from you at the office of the president or the employees at the office of the president?
Our relationship was need-to-know basis with, you know, with the president. We were there doing our work, and if we are needed, we would be called, and part of our TOR was to also carry out his instructions. And there are certain things you wouldn't know, and you would not even volunteer to find out, especially when it deals with his personal issues.
Okay, Mike, okay, that's fine. The things which you were aware of, was it masked? Was it hidden? Did he not want you to know that, for example, KGI belonged to him?
There may be certain things that would be general knowledge, something that he would, you know, publicly say himself. But there are certain things you wouldn't know because, you know, when he meets with some of these, you know, people or others, you're not invited. You'll be in your office. You will deal with them. It's later after the meeting when everything is known that you will be brought in. But I wouldn't know his assets or if it is hidden or he wouldn't tell me. I wouldn't be in a position to know that. But there are certain things, like you say, KGI, it was general knowledge that, it was his.
The properties he owned, was that hidden?
Properties?
The properties he owned, land, buildings, was that a hidden fact?
There were some that we would know. There were others we wouldn't know.
Okay. You do know that public records are available regarding properties in the Gambia. There's a registry.
Yes, I'm aware.
Sorry, I didn't get the question. Could you kindly repeat the question?
Sorry. Do you know that there's a public registry for properties in the Gambia lands? He said yes.
Sorry, we didn't hear the last.
The question was, Mr. Chairman, does the witness know that properties or landed properties there's a public registry for that in the Gambia? He said yes.
Have you got it?
There's a public registry.
It's still not clear.
The question was, does the witness know that with regards to landed properties, there is a public registry in the Gambia?
We got it.
Thank you.
Yes, can you answer, please?
I already did. I said yes, Mr. Mero. I agree. I concur.
Was it ever hidden when the president made request for withdrawals from central bank that the monies were meant for him?
Was it what?
Was it hidden when the president made request for withdrawal of public funds from the central bank? Was it hidden that it was meant for him?
Some of those requests were hidden. You wouldn't know. You would just ask to do so. Some others you may be aware that it is for this purpose.
But you're aware that monies were being withdrawn from the central bank for the president?
Yes, it is our testimony here.
Dr. Ba,
Yeah.
you mentioned in one of your testimonies that public enterprises or public corporations such as GRTRS, when they needed funding for projects, they came to the office of the president and he had to approve it. Is that correct? Do you recall that testimony?
And you quoted GRTS? Yeah.
So was it applicable to all public enterprises and public corporations that approval was sought for financial assistance or aid for projects in which they were embarking on?
If they needed help or if they needed intervention, they would indicate so. Sometimes they would just go ahead with their own, arrangements.
Thank you. Now, Dr. Ba, it is, I think, public knowledge that the former president, was not known to keep his friends.
Was not going to keep his friends.
Was not known to keep his friends.
Was not known. Records would show that. History would show that. Yeah, I would agree.
You will agree.
What's the answer?
I said records would show that. History would show that yes, he doesn't want to keep his friends.
You're aware that, Baba Job was his close friend, and he ended up being jailed and prosecuted and died in prison.
Well, Baba's time, Baba's period, I wasn't here. but I heard, he was close to him. And I also learned of his fate, but I don't know, anything about it. It was not my time.
Just one final question. The Gambia is known for foreign investment. I believe even the US website has stated that there are a lot of foreign investment in the Gambia. And the investors range from British, French, Lebanese, Malaysian, and so forth. These foreign investors sought the audience of the president, the former president. Is that not correct?
Yes, I would agree.
They sought audience with the former president. Is that the question?
That's the question.
Yeah, they would go through, sometimes they go through GAIPA, and then they would be introduced to the office. Sometimes they would, write and then a request for audience, and when granted, they would meet with the former president.
So, would you agree that at the time when the former president was ruling the country, that it was the norm for investors to go to State House or office of the president or meet with the president?
Was it the norm? Yeah, I would agree.
You would agree. Dr. Ba, the biggest consumer of products in the Gambia, be it cars, fuel, etc., is the Gambian government. Would you agree with that?
I didn't get the first word.
The biggest consumer of products in the Gambia is the government of the Gambia. Would you agree with that?
Biggest consumer of cars.
Of products, cars, fuel, is the Gambian government. Would you agree with that?
Yes, to some extent, yes, I would agree.
To some extent. Okay. Dr. Ba, do you know Fadi Mazegi?
Who?
Fadi Mazegi.
Fatima Zagi.
Fadi. F-A-D-I.
Fadi. Yes. He works at Eagle Company.
Okay. Have you ever seen him at the office of the president while you were there?
Have I ever seen him? No, I do not. I do not remember seeing him at the office of the president.
Okay. Thank you. That is all.
That doesn't mean he didn't come to the office, but I have not seen him.
You've never seen him?
others, that work with him at the office.
Sorry, how did you know Fadi Mazegi?
Through Mr. Bazi.
Okay.
Through Mr. Bazi and the company, Eagle. Sometimes we see correspondence is coming. And also being aware that, he works for the company. And knowing him through Mr. Mohammed Bazi.
Did you meet him?
Fadi? Yes, I've met him.
Okay.
On some occasions, yeah.
Formal occasions?
Formal, yes, I believe so. And I think during events, during programs.
During programs.
Yeah, that I would meet him. But at the official level, dealing with the company, we deal mostly with Mr. Bazi or there was one Manhal, Mr. Manhal. that, you know, will come to the office.
Okay. Thank you. That is all for the witness.
I do have a couple of questions. I'd like you to clarify the answer. Maybe I did not appreciate the question, and so I did not get the answer correctly.
What?
You were asked about opinions from the Office of the Attorney General. And do I understand you to be saying that when the Attorney General gives an opinion, the opinion comes to the Office of the President for approval first before the opinion is issued?
No, it depends. If the Attorney General's chambers, if the ministry is contacted for a reason and legal advice sought, you know, from them, based on a particular